Last, we have understood about the sacred groves, what they are, and in India, how many sacred groves we have and their distribution. Now, we are going to understand the contribution of sacred groves, especially towards ecological side, and the contribution in the conservation, how it supports different factors of biodiversity. These sacred groves represent an invaluable gene pool conserving the biodiversity, and they are found all over a country, as we have seen with different names. They provide different ecosystem services such as biodiversity, medicinal plants, regulatory systems and services, and range of functions carried out by ecosystems. It also serves as a repository for biodiversity. These pristine patches of forest have been instrumental in saving many vanishing species that might otherwise have been destroyed. In addition, transpiration from the sacred groves increases atmosphere humidity and reduces temperatures in the immediate vicinity and produces a favorable microclimate for several organisms. Sacred groves also play a crucial role in soil conservation. Soil conservation is prevented because of water retention capacity and the soil binding nature of the trees. And the roots that prevent the nutrients from leaching out, they also play an important role in the soil and water conservation and are often the only source of water for many animals and birds. They are also protecting the watersheds and water sources. In short, sacred groves provide some very important ecological services to mankind. They are dependable sources for organisms which are staying in and around the sacred groves. Hunting, logging, and other developmental activities are strictly prohibited within the sacred groves. Besides the sacred groves, they also serve to maintain the prestige and old religious and cultural practices, beliefs, and customs that might otherwise have been lost in this era of globalization and mass culture. So, as this diagram shows, that it is helping in also various contributions such as carbon sequestration and also in socioeconomical range, and it also helps us in every different aspect of our livelihood. The contribution of sacred grove in the biodiversity conservation is immense. A lot of genetic diversity, which shows in several species, they can be found in these sacred groves. They are places where you may be thinking of some of the species that are lost or remnants are very primitive, and such species you can find them in these sacred groves as it is undisturbed and protected from the human activity. So you can also find a lot of rare, threatened, and endemic plants as well as animal species. Now, here you might be thinking that this is a kind of a species where we may see that there is a lot of regeneration happening of those species where we may not have thought of a good population. And a lot of species that are red listed, they still are available in this virgin forest. There are several threats that we observe that is happening to the sacred groves. It is a matter of serious concern due to the steady erosion of traditional and cultural values among the local communities, which in turn has adversely affected the preservation of the sacred groves. It has already been seen that the traditional beliefs and taboos have played a vital role in maintaining these islands of biodiversity. However, the impact of modernization, education, and growing disbelief in the traditional value systems among the local communities has impacted the preservation of the groves. Pressures of growing urbanization, industrialization, and need for roads and houses and other infrastructure has eaten into the areas of the groves. However, a heartening feature is that environmentally conscious communities and civil societies have taken up this cause in right earnest, and the trend is being reserved. For example, in Andhra Pradesh, the sacred groves are known as Pavitravanams. There are almost 730 so far which have been documented. These are totally dedicated to the local deities, gods and goddesses. Some of the deities to whom the sacred groves are dedicated are Shiva and Saraswati, etc. These sacred groves are deteriorating at an alarming rate due to the changes in beliefs, especially the religious and developmental pressures. Many temples associated with the sacred groves have been modernized by removing the vegetation. Some of the species commonly found in the sacred groves are black plum, tamarind, mango, jackfruit, neem, peepal, etc. Some of the species have been unique capacity to do the nitrogen fixation. Such species, they become a keystone and provide a lot of functional contribution. And sudden explosion of the population is another thing that is now affecting the place where the sacred groves is occurring. And to meet the requirements of the crop demand, we are now clearing the sacred groves for cultivation aspect. And there is a kind of a influx, especially the tourist, and they are not following the right rules and regulations. As a result, the place is getting deteriorated. There are a lot of anthropological pressures and factors that are affecting these sacred groves. So youngsters, if at all you happen to be near or go to the sacred groves, understand that you also can be following the do's and don'ts and contribute to the conservation of the sacred groves.